Welcome everyone to Albuquerque, New Mexico, the 8th edition of the Gildan New Mexico Bowl. I'm Mark Jones alongside Brock Eward. Jessica Mendoza down in the field, a couple of teams on the field, back in the bowl picture for the first time in a while. Colorado State for the first time in 5 years. The Cougars of Washington State, the first time in a decade. Washington State winning the toss, electing to receive. So the Cougars will get a look at their offense to start this game off. Ricky Galvin, who caught a touchdown pass in that Apple Cup game a couple of weeks ago, and Christoph Williams back deep for the Cougars. That's one of the questions for Washington State. How do they bounce back after losing, Brock, in that very emotional Apple Cup game in their last performance? Here we go. And that one was Williams. He'll take the knee, and it'll come out 1st and 10 for Connor Halliday, who completed 63% of his passes this year. There's a look at the big storyline of the day. How does that Colorado State pass defense perform against a very prolific passing team, Washington State?
Going to be imperative for the Rams to take away the early options for Connor Halliday. He loves to get the ball out of his hands. They play really fast offensively. Colorado State must make it difficult, must make him get out of his typical progression reads.
Weston Mason in the backfield for the Cougars on 1st down and 10. Pass complete. That's Marcus Mason. Nice gain on 1st down.
Mason's actually the 2nd leading receiver for the Cougs because of plays like that. That is their run game. They run it less than anybody else. So their run game to get to the perimeter is often those little bubble screens, swing passes. Mason very involved in their passing game.
2nd down and 8. Halliday with time, got rid of it quickly, and he's intercepted at the 31-yard line by Max Morgan. It was off the hands of Isaiah Myers. And Morgan came up with the game's 1st turnover on just its 2nd play. And they're going to start off, the Rams will, with great field position.
You'll see Wazzu, they love this concept. Lots of inside breaking routes, the ball just a little high and behind. And when you throw high and behind in the middle of the field, that ball gets tipped. That's danger zone. That's now 22 interceptions on the year for Connor Halliday. That leads all of college football.
The 10th interception, meanwhile, for Colorado State. And they're going to start off here on the 31-yard line. 1st and 10 for quarterback Garrett Grayson in the offense. It's a very balanced offense, and the pass complete. Forward progress, and it's ripped clean. Nolan Washington. And they take it right back on the next play. Nolan Washington took it away from the receiver. Rashad Higgins appeared to have it, and then just got stripped clean.
Well, welcome to bowl season, right? Kind of like the opening week of the season where the ball can bounce in funny ways. It's a good read, it's a good progression, but you see the true freshman against the redshirt senior, and that's a mismatch, and that's going to be exactly what Washington State wants to do all afternoon long. They want to be physical. They want to enforce their will on those players on the perimeter. Well done by Nolan Washington.
We'll see how Halliday responds after throwing that interception on the last series. Handed off to Mason, and he's brought down nicely behind the line of scrimmage. Going to be a loss of about 2 on the play. Aaron Davis knifing in there to make the play for Colorado State.
Hardest hitter, 2nd leading tackler, an undersized linebacker. He actually fits from, I'll say the word again, a matchup standpoint pretty well this afternoon because he is more speed than he is size. Plays like that pretty reflective of his tackling ability.
2nd and 12. Halliday has a lot of time underneath at the 45-yard line. Complete and down to the 37. It's Gabe Marks, the team's leading receiver, and he's coming up slow. And he'll limp off the field. Led the team with 69 catches on the season for 770 yards. Boy, a 9-yard gain. So It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Cougars.
He's going to have to rip it through. He's got to be a little bit more accurate than he's been here to begin the first quarter.
3rd and long. Plenty of time. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Craycraft.
Look at Halliday talking a little smack to the Colorado State sidelines. He's not afraid to show his emotion, and that's coming back. He knew he's missed a couple, but on 3rd down, and when you really need it, buying a little bit of time and throwing the ball perfectly to the back end of the end zone there, where Craycraft, the true freshman, brings it in.
That's the 3rd touchdown catch of the season for Craycraft. The extra point good for Halliday, his 29th touchdown pass, and he atones for the interception on the previous series.
And this has not been a strength of Connor Halliday this season. And Colorado State, in fact, wanted to come into this game and take away his early options. He loves to get the ball out of his hands, and this offense has functioned best when he's played within that rhythm. But that time, 1 and 2 are taken away. He buys a little time, and he lets Colorado State know.
Hey, it's bowl season. A little bit of junk talk on the sidelines. And now Colorado State going to get a chance to get some get back here. Thomas Kaufman back deep for the Rams. Mountain West against the Pac-12. And one of 3 matchups between the 2 conferences during the bowl season here. Just underway here in the 8th edition of the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl. Kaufman on the return. And brought down just a little bit shy of the 20-yard line. 1st down and 10, meanwhile, for the Rams. Grayson was picked by Washington last time he touched the ball. Completes this one to the outside. On the edge to Rashad Higgins. And this is a very talented and precocious true freshman.
Man, smart play there, and I like that call. Higgins intercepted early, was fighting the ball in the little curl route a little bit. Washington ripped it away from him. So what do you do for the true freshman? You go right back to him because they know they've got to count on him today.
Maybe the most explosive and dynamic player on the field. Makes it a 3rd and long now. 12 to go. More heat up front. And that might be grounding. Not sure he was outside that tackle box. Cooper and Viau applying the heat. And a flag down on the play. So they've been able to get to him a couple times here early.
And this is a Colorado State line with 4 redshirt seniors right now that are just not matching up to that overall size and strength of Wazzu. Those aren't blitzes. That's not real exotic looks. They're just getting beat up front.
No grounding. The penalty is loss of down. Just follow the foul. 4th down.
4th down coming up. The Rams will have to punt.
You see Jim McElwain there. He's trying to point out that Alexander 7 was there and he was the outlet. He is the running back, but that's nowhere close. They'll usually give you a little leeway on plays like that if you can get it somewhere near his feet, but that was nowhere near the running back. And unfortunately for Jim McElwain, a penalty that's going to back his crew up, give Washington State tremendous field position. And surprisingly so now, 2 possessions for the Rams, not 1 touch for their best player, All-American Capri Bibbs, silent thus far.
From 9 yards deep, Hayden Hunt averaging about 42 yards per punt on the season. What about a mile-high altitude? They blocked it. They came after it out of bounds, and the Cougars knifed through that front. Theron West got there to block it. Theron West, who's back in the lineup this week.
Perfect. That's exactly how you're taught. You see him get his arm up. He's not going to run into the punter. That's perfect technique and fundamentals. You get your hands up, trying to estimate exactly where the launch point for that punter is going to be. And once again, too much speed for Washington State.
That's the 2nd time that Hunt has, he's blocked one this year.
He's got one-on-one all across the field, the matchup he wants to attack.
Looks to the wide side, touchdown! Gabe Marks. And in a blink, the Cougars lead 13-0. We saw Marks, well, before some of you joined us, he was shaken up, had to limp off the field. But obviously healthy enough to get back and score.
You see Halliday there, gets the call he wants. Press man coverage across the board. He checks to the slant route. Tremendous execution, and couldn't have a better start for the Cougs.
Yeah, Washington State able to capitalize on the block punt. Here's what set it up. The block punt by West, his second ever. And then Marks making it look easy. The Rams a little rattled when we come back. From the Sandia Mountains, a beautiful day here from all of us at ESPN to all of you. Season's greetings. 14-0. The Cougars jumping out to a quick lead, taking advantage of a block punt a moment ago and an interception prior to that. And one of the questions that begs, Brock, why hasn't Capri Bibbs, touched the ball?
Well, you can get a little cute when you have a few weeks to prepare. And if you're Colorado State, you know that Washington State's going to employ a scheme and some techniques to try to take him away. And they've gone to the passing game, but not effective here early. I would completely guess that we will see Bibbs in a few runs here on this possession.
Alexander on the return, stopped up at the 10-yard line. Remember, Colorado State making its first bowl appearance in 5 years. The Cougars first time in 10 years. Mike Leach's team improving from just 3 wins a season ago.
Pretty remarkable. With 35 bowl games, there's not one kid on this field that's participated in one yet until today.
Wow. Second down and 9. Bibbs again. Check that. That's Alexander getting the touch. They'll rotate. Alexander coming back from a knee injury. And let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Bell.
Both All-Americans. Walter Camp, second-team All-Americans. Buchanan was actually a first-team All-American by the Associated Press. And Bibbs has fought a little turf toe. I also wonder if that's played a role as to how quiet he has been here. I would expect Buchanan, you will hear this afternoon. I don't know if there is a player that uncoils and hits harder in college football than Dayon Buchanan.
On 3rd and 5. Handoff again. That's Alexander, and Alexander picks up the first down as we go downstairs to Jessica.
Well, guys, Dayon Buchanan, normally a very quiet guy, but Coach had him speak to the team last night, and he said, hey, this is 2 years, a culmination of us, of brotherhood, where we need to make sure that we epitomize this game by how hard we've worked, the chemistry that we have had. He doesn't say much, but he made a point to say that this game was going to mean a lot to them.
All right, and now Bibbs comes back into the ball game. Just under 7.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Bibbs, who ranks second in the nation in touchdowns.
Got him.
They're going to take a shot up top, wide open. A busted coverage, and you're talking about 6, Ram style. Love it, and you gotta love it. 63 yards for the score.
Even though you've not seen many carries for Bibbs, in fact, just one here in the first quarter, it's his effect on the field, and you love the play action. And you're absolutely right, Mark. This is a complete bust. The backside coverage there for Washington State gets lost with their eyes. They're looking in. They have heard so much about Bibbs and Bibbs and Bibbs. They play action pass, undisciplined on the back end, and a touchdown that Colorado State so desperately needed.
That's a second touchdown catch of the season for Lovett. The extra point good. And for Grayson, that's his 22nd touchdown of the year. And the Rams fighting their way back into this ball game behind Garrett Grayson. I tell you what, folks, I might have the bravest partner in all of America taking that balloon ride yesterday. Look at Brock. How high up are you there?
You know, we took the oxygen mask off. We were about 18,000 feet. Actually, that's not true. You don't get up real high in those balloons. Yeah, I got a little cocky there. I was doing a little Connor Halliday right there. I was doing a little talking.
Yeah. Albuquerque, New Mexico, the balloon capital of the world. And what was the best part of that flight, that trip yesterday?
Well, the whole time wondering where you were, to be quite honest.
I'm grounded. I get motion sick.
Now, this is a beautiful city, and we're going to chat with Coach Davey here a little bit later, the head coach now in New Mexico. And I'm not spending a ton of time in Albuquerque, but you could just tell with the players as well. The Washington State players, the Colorado State players, they're enjoying this experience. And the folks with the Gildan New Mexico Bowl take really good care of both of these teams. It's well attended. Both programs sold out their ticket allotment. And we're going to have a good one. I think we're going to see a lot of points today.
There's Halliday, slings it complete, the little receiver screen. Williams still on the move. Williams, touchdown Cougars. What an answer. 75 yards. But there's a flag down on the play. That's against Washington State, all for nothing. We'll take those points off the board. And they'll place the football at about the 42.
You look at the numbers for Coach Leach, and you don't see very many rushing attempts. You're dead last in college football in yards gained on the ground. But I'll say it again, this is their run game. And you love the effort down the field. Yeah, and you do it. You see Maley just reach out, number one there, reach out with his arm to the very left of the screen, grab the jersey. Good call.
On first down, great throw and an even better catch at the 46-yard line by Ricky Galvin. Maybe the fastest of the Cougar wide routes.
You said balance earlier, and that's probably a word that not many would use for this offense. That's good at the NFL level as Galvin tiptoes in. But the balance is 10 different guys with 25 receptions, spreading the ball sideline to sideline, vertically as well. They get everyone involved as much as anybody in college football.
All day for Halliday. Touchdown. West with the catch. And the points continue to pile up for the Cougars.
Pick your poison when you're playing Connor Halliday in Washington State. And the Rams of Colorado State felt like they needed Connor Halliday to be put in those situations, that if he was able to get into rhythm and get the ball out of his hands, it was going to be a difficult day. They wanted to see him extend the play. They feel like that's where the sacks and the turnovers have come, but not so fast here in the first quarter. 3 touchdown passes already for Halliday.
And it's 21-7. Colorado State may have given up a touchdown on that last throw, but they put a lick on Halliday. Sometimes it might be worth it if you're Colorado State. And welcome back, everyone, to the 2013 Gildan New Mexico Bowl. Points abound, 28 of them so far, 21-7 lead for the Cougars. The last 7 coming on this touchdown pass a moment ago. What was the key here, bro?
Well, the ultimate team game can become about matchups as well. And this is Shaquille Barrett. He is the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year because of his ability to rush. But coming into this game, Colorado State said, nope, we're going to take away those little easy outlets. We're going to peel. That's called peeling with our defensive ends. And unfortunately, you've got a pass rusher, a one-time D-tackle, D-end, trying to cover a little back out of the backfield. And that's advantage Connor, and that's why he's thrown 3 touchdowns in his last 9 attempts here in Albuquerque.
Remember, this Cougar team slung it 89 times, folks, in a loss against Oregon this year. On the kickoff return, just shy of the 28-yard line. First down and 10 from the 29 for Colorado State. Capri Bibbs, the lone back. They hand it off to him over the left side. And he picks up about 3 or 4 on the play. Let's go downstairs to Jessica.
Well, guys, I've been watching Capri Bibbs on the sideline. He's definitely still limping. You can tell that turf toe is bothering him. He keeps jumping on the bike. He gets off. He's frustrated. Although he's in the game, you guys, it's clear he is not 100%.
Now, Brock, we did see how important he was even as a decoy on that touchdown pass, though, right?
Yes, but you desperately are searching for those yards to keep this Washington State defense honest, having to play both run and pass.
3rd and 1. Play action. Wide open, caught. Cartwright all the way down
Pass
near the
complete
10-yard
to
line.
number 86.
Ron Cartwright, another one of those prolific receivers, picks up 51.
And you love the play call of Dave Baldwin, offensive coordinator for Jim McElwain. Much like the touchdown earlier, it's that long extended play action pass, and you are trying to affect all those secondary defenders and linebackers and get their eyes in the backfield. And that's happened on both the touchdown, that time with the H-back Cartwright beating the coverage and Grayson executing.
Bibb stopped up short. Didn't look like he actually had a chance to. Couldn't get downhill that time. Lost 3 yards. Monroe with the hit. And Bibb's going to come back out of the ball game. Alexander in for Bibbs. On 2nd and 13. Complete to Lovett, who scored the touchdown on their last series, picked up 4. 3rd and about 9 coming up. Interesting play call here, partner.
But the nice thing is you've got a couple tight ends that are mismatches for you. Cartwright, you saw with a big chunk play in the passing game. He's 3rd in college football from the tight end position with 6 touchdowns. And then Gilmore, first-team all-conference player at 6'6". He provides some opportunities against these defensive backs as well.
Haven't heard much from Gilmore yet. Into the end zone. Looks like his receiver fell. That was Gilmore. And it's incomplete. A little bit of contact.
Yeah, you saw Gilmore there, unfortunately, stumble there and the inability to get to the ball.
Going to bring in Steve Shaw, head of SEC officials, joining us here in the booth. Steve, explain that call to us, why there was no flag.
So you saw the back judge immediately. He ruled it. It looked like there was contact, but with the signal uncatchable, the ball was well over his head, so no foul.
Right. And in comes the place kicker, Jared Roberts, 17 of 20 on the season. This one from 25 yards out. And he hooks it inside that upright. And the field goal is good. Colorado State out of the Mountain West Conference, taking on the Pac-12's Washington State. A couple of teams and coaches in their second years, respectively, with their programs.
15 to 20 mile-an-hour winds, but you've seen both quarterbacks do a pretty good job of cutting through the wind. And what you have really seen is Washington State's overall athleticism just too much here for Colorado State in the first period.
Williams on the return, almost found an alley over the right side and tripped up just around the 25-yard line. Well, 1st and 10 now for Connor Halliday.
31 touchdown passes now on the season. There's going to be a few more today.
The receiver screen complete. Number 18, Christoph Williams. You may have heard me a little bit earlier, and folks, that was not a typo. You didn't hear me incorrectly. Washington State threw the ball 89 times this year in a single game, albeit a loss against Oregon. So we'll be out of here by 9 o'clock tonight. Halliday on the run. Almost dragged down, but got rid of it just in time. And there's the Conference Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference, Shaquille Barrett. Brock finally making a bit of an imprint on this game.
Well, it's going to be a game plan move here in adjustment. You do spend 3 weeks really digging in and looking at every one of these games, looking at strengths and weakness of your personnel, their personnel. You saw you saw Barrett earlier having to chase down the running back down the field. I think you're going to be at your best if he has an opportunity to do that, to hit, to harass, to get Halliday off of his spot with his natural pass rush.
3rd and 6. Pass a little bit high and incomplete. Craycraft couldn't hang on to it. And Halliday was facing a fierce rush. 4th down and a bit of a win here for the Rams defense.
Well, that's one of the first times you've seen Colorado State bring pressure, and they said enough's enough. We've tried zone, they're throwing underneath and beating us. We've tried to play man and peel our defensive ends, they're beating us. So that time you bring more than they can block, trying to force an errant pass, and that's exactly what happens, and force Well, the first punt here for Washington State.
And Michael Bolin in to punt this. A little over 39. I mean, that's Concepcion punting this time. And it takes a favorable Cougar bounce out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for Colorado State. Grayson. Now it's wide open to Hensley, and Hensley looks like he picked up another first down for the Rams. So you'd give that that first round on the judges' scorecards to Bibbs over
Yeah,
Daniel
because
Buchanan,
usually mouthpieces, ear pads, football, lots of other parts go flying when Buchanan does his damage.
First down and 10 seconds to go here in the first period. And a very high-scoring first 15 minutes. Bibbs limping a little bit there
Gutting
to the
out.
sideline. And this the 14th game of the season for them. Washington State playing its 13th. First 15 minutes in the books. 21-10 Cougars when we come back. Look at the Sandia Peak Tramway here in Albuquerque. Terminates at the top of the mountain with an elevation of over 10,000 feet, folks. I was there on my snowboard yesterday while Brock was doing his balloon thing. No, not quite. 31 points on the board already as we begin the second 15 minutes of play here, second quarter. Bibbs back in the ball game, gets it into the boundary. Bibbs with a nice move and picks up the first down at the 19-yard line. Capri Bibbs, perhaps playing on a bad wheel, picks up 9 for the first down.
I don't think there's any doubt about the perhaps. He is, and he fought turf toe, and it was actually Utah State earlier this season that he got it initially, and he's fought through in the bowl practices. They know he's not 100%. He knows he's not 100%, but he's giving you everything he has.
Cartwright, another tall receiver. Plenty of time to throw for Grayson, and the pass complete. That's Lovett, who caught a touchdown in the first quarter. Picks up the first down. It's going to be first and goal.
Watch Grayson go through his progression read here. He actually is looking for Gilmore first. He doesn't like him, but because his eyes are there, you can see him manipulate the linebackers from right back underneath. And unlike Hensley, well, Lovett pulls it in and moves the sticks.
Bibbs couldn't break the tackle, brought down short of the end zone again. Pole making the stop, and what an interesting week it's been for Tony Pole. Had to clear up an academic issue earlier this week, flew back to Pullman to take care of it after reports surfaced that he was going to be ineligible academically to play, and then got it cleared up and flew back here to Albuquerque, hence in the lineup. And a big part of what they do up front.
4-down territory.
That'll be third and goal. Longest drive of the season for Colorado State into the end zone, into coverage and incomplete. Hensley, the intended receiver, fourth down coming up. And McElwain with a decision here.
And down in the red zone, your reads and progressions, well, they hit a lot faster. And yes, while the play is designed to throw it to the back end zone, look at that. You see two Cougars converge on Hensley. That underneath route, that slants a touchdown, but that clock, everything goes faster when you're down there in the red zone. And instead of 4-down territory, you're going to take the points and try to make this a one-possession game.
Robertson to kick the field goal.
But hold your hat, he's already had 2 fake punts.
Don't sleep on Coach McElwain today. Roberts knocks it through. And it's 21-13 after the 19-yard field goal with just under 10 minutes to go. The Rams burn some clock and put some points on the board. It's Brock, Mark, and joined now by the head football coach in New Mexico, Bob Davie, former partner for 5 years. Thanks for joining us, partner.
Well, good to be with you. I know it's extremely cold for you today, coming out of South Florida. So you've got your gloves on, and
ready for the weather.
Brock doesn't have anything on.
Ready for the weather. Year 2 for Coach Bob Davie, and we'll talk about his prospects moving forward, as well as the Mountain West Conference and other issues and other notable things. The kick. And it'll come out to the 25-yard line. Bob, hey, we got a couple coaches in this game today. Michael Leach and Coach McElwain, second year on the job, your second year on the job. How difficult is it when you come in that first year identifying things and establishing a plan and moving forward?
I think every situation's different, but so much credit to Mike and Jim to come in and just put your identity on it right away. You look at Colorado State, a lot of the Alabama style offense, Brock, the big multiple tight end zone play action pass, and then Mike Leach, what his identity is. So you see both those guys putting their fingerprints on their jobs immediately.
Eagles running on first down. Mason, one of the few runs. Remember, this is a team that only runs it 25% of the time.
So what's the coach seeing through the first quarter and a half?
I think holding people to field goals now is what college football has become. And, Washington State able to hold Colorado State to a couple field goals. A lot of offense. And that's what college football is. In particular, that's what the Mountain West Conference is, Brock. Offense.
This time. Pass complete to Christoph Williams. So Bob, you'd said that, when you were with us in the booth for several years, you said if you ever went back to football, you'd run that quarterback duck. And I looked at the numbers, buddy, and you've been running that quarterback duck here in New Mexico.
Yeah, you remember that. Just in our situation, Mark, to kind of level the playing field right now as we rebuild this program, option football has been outstanding for us. And all my years at Notre Dame playing those service academies, I knew if I got back in it, I'd have some element of triple option.
Not a great punt, but a very favorable roll for Washington State all the way inside the 20-yard line. Coach, we're going to ask you to stick around for one more segment after that 54-yard punt, and we'll chop it up a little bit more on the other side of this. Back in a minute. 21-13, Mark Jones, Brock Huard, joined by head coach of New Mexico, the Lobos, Bob Davie, former colleague of ours here. Bob, hey, you've seen number 5, Capri Bibbs, play quite a bit in this conference. So what do you make of his relative talent so far?
First of all, I've been here 2 years. It's the first time I've heard piercing shoulders of the Sandia Mountains. But no, Bibbs is a player. And he's really, in a lot of ways, ignited this program from Jim McElwain because they love to run the football so much.
First and 10, Grayson going to throw it. And he's picked off into coverage. And it's Buchanan, the playmaker. Does it with hits and does it with his hands. His 6th of the season. And the second interception thrown by Colorado State.
Yeah, Buchanan is not just a guy that can unload in the run game. He does a really good job of baiting Grayson. He gets just enough depth there to make the interception. And you can see Grayson, this is a high-low read. He's got the flat route underneath, the corner behind, and that's a senior in Buchanan baiting that throw and then doing what he's done 15 times in his career. Mark picking that ball off and doing something with it. Huge play for Washington State to return the momentum that had really gone Colorado State's way.
Mason in the backfield, a lone back. Let's see if they take a shot here. This pass complete again to Williams. Williams picks up about 4 on the play.
So what's the answer? What's the answer in the MAC? What's the answer in the Mountain West? What's the answer around college football? Will that ever turn, Bob, and you see some of that elite defense again?
I don't think it's going to turn. Not back to the 290 yards a game total defense, giving up 12 points a game total defense. The offenses are just so sophisticated. The element of the quarterback run. Look at the NFL now. Just that element of the pistol zone read, just the threat of that has really changed the landscape of the NFL a little bit.
A little pressure coming from Colorado State. They picked it up, and it's a touchdown. Maley with the catch.
Beautiful.
28 yards for the score.
You heard Coach David alluding to quarterbacks and what they can do to defenses, and we've seen it now 4 times today. You give Halliday a little bit of space and room. Colorado State brings a little bit of pressure, and that's a one-on-one mismatch. Maley, 6'3", big kid, 220 pounds, getting inside an inexperienced Colorado State secondary and making them pay.
And that's the 7th touchdown catch of the season for Vince Maley. Former JUCO star out of Sierra Junior College, and now it's 28-13, under 7 minutes to go in the first half. Coach, want to thank you for joining us in the booth, man.
Appreciate it.
Good luck moving forward.
Appreciate it. Brock, you guys have a great Christmas. You guys doing a great job together.
Good to see you, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Back with more on the other side of this. And welcome back, everyone, to the 2013 edition of the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, 28-13. Washington State with the lead, and the records continue to tumble for Washington State. Halliday's 4 touchdowns ties a bowl record, and we have more than half of a football game to play still.
And if you're a Washington State fan, you're excited about his redshirt senior year, because you put the tape on from week 1 to where this team is now, where this offense is now, and his handle of where everybody is on the field. I mean, that's so critical for Mike Leach. His level of balance is attacking every inch of the field, and when he has a quarterback that can see it, that can check it, that can read, you have a chance to take advantage, as he has done. Mike Leach, almost every single year he's been a head man.
It's really helped that his offensive line hasn't given up as many sacks as they did a season ago. They gave up over 50 sacks last year. First down and 10. Let's see how the Buffaloes respond after the interception that led to the touchdown. Bibbs on the carry, and Jessica with more on Bibbs.
Well, if you guys notice, Bibbs' right cleat is different from his left. It's a special cleat made for the turf toe that he has. It has a metal plate in it. And guys, normally your toes will flex in a normal shoe, but this metal plate restricts that flexion and keeps his toes stationary, which helps take off a little bit of that pain.
I guess they can do, or have to do anything they can to get him on the field. Looking for success here, won't find it. Sacked back at the 33-yard line by Paolo. And 4th down coming up, and he comes up limping. That's the 5th sack on the season for Paolo.
And that is just a 4-man rush. You can see Grayson trying to work through his reads, but when you rush 4, you collapse the pocket as he reaches for his lower leg. Now, there's nowhere for him to throw, and that pass rush for Washington State not been tremendous this year. Just 19 sacks coming into this game, but they're being effective with that 4-man rush. Good punts.
Onto the 40-yard line. Not sure that was by design. Brooks on the return. And it's a good one into Colorado State territory. And pushed out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. Just a 33-yard punt and 19 on the return. One more look at this punt.
Yeah, and that is a miss. Now he is kicking and punting into some of that wind. You can't afford it. I mean, you just cannot afford it against an opponent that outmatches you in many, many ways. You just can't afford the real estate that you're giving up in the special teams games, the turnovers, and let's see if Washington State can really pounce and put some pressure on Colorado State. The touchdown drive here.
That pass complete to Craycraft. Craycraft with another first down for Washington State. 6-foot freshman, true freshman, out of California, picks up 16. Wide open. Craycraft got his feet down. It's going to be complete at the 7-yard line. 1st and goal, Cougars. Boy, Halliday had all day to find him and hit him.
And look at the splits there. It maybe is as unique as you're going to see. And that's just a bust. And right now, Colorado State is absolutely reeling. Halliday is getting the ball out. He's efficient. He's effective. And he's looking for his 5th touchdown pass here in the first half, which would be a new Gildan, New Mexico Bowl record.
From the 7, 1st and goal. Boy, they run it. West with a great move, but stopped up at about the 3-yard line. They're in West.
Take a look at
2nd and goal.
Take a look at this. Joe Dahl, who's played left guard all season long for this game today, they flip-flopped. He is outside playing tackle. You do this because look what it does to the defensive end there, Bear. Look how far away now he is from the quarterback. And look at the lanes. You naturally create lanes with splits like that. Just one of the little adjustments that Wazzu has made today.
Halliday waiting, touchdown! Galvin came out of the maze of players with the ball. And that's a new Gildan Bowl record with 5 touchdown passes and a career high for Halliday.
Yeah, he's done it twice this season, throwing 5 touchdown passes, just a 4-man rush. And unlike Washington State, that's affecting Grayson with a 4-man rush, you're not getting to Halliday, and that shows you the confidence that which he is playing. Committing a no-no, throwing it all the way back across the field. But right now, kind of like those shooters when they get hot, that rim gets really, really big for Halliday right now, and he is red hot.
A little heat check for Halliday. And right now he's heating up.
Yeah, that's my kind of night.
Oh, look at that scenery. We're about 10,000 feet up at that point. Looking down on the valley to the east, to the west. So many great sights in and around Albuquerque.
How many touchdowns are you going to see today? That's 5 already. My guess is Mike Leach is not going to come off the accelerator. I think you are going to see Connor Halliday continue to be incredibly aggressive in this second half.
Bibbs in the game with that reinforced steel plate shoe bottom, helping his turf toe, and makes a nice run here out to the 38-yard line. Jessica Mendoza making that report a few moments ago, and you see Bibbs taking his time and getting up after each and every run. Picked up 12 that time.
And what you're seeing is him coming off the field an awful lot, and that's not what you have seen from Colorado State over the last 6 weeks of this season, where he was really, really good, all the way to second-team Walter Camp All-American good, only the 3rd Ram in their history to accomplish that.
That pass complete to the 44-yard line by Grayson, caught by Crockett Gilmore. Picks up 7 on the play.
54 rushing yards, nothing to cry about in the first half. On pace, obviously, to get to that century mark. And there's Buchanan, 4 tackles, the big interception that changed momentum so drastically.
Another pass complete, meanwhile, to Crockett Gilmore, picked up 5. Gilmore, that tall, imposing target, first team All-Mountain West this year.
And this is the stretch where Grayson has really matured. This is the time where you do not panic, where you do not force it. Some of the play calls have certainly helped here, but good patience. You can't get it all back with one throw.
Slings it complete to Gilmore again. You know, Gilmore likes playing here. Got his first touchdown pass, his collegiate first touchdown pass right here in this stadium. Picked up 25. First down and 10 coming up. Alexander in the backfield. Bibbs on the sideline watching. Grayson given time. Incomplete. Batted away nicely at the last moment by Nolan Washington, who already has an interception today. Made a great play there.
That's on the big tight end, Cartwright. That's one of those matchups that Colorado State likes, especially down here in this area of the field. Cartwright, Gilmore, gets your big tight end. Much more of an H-back for Cartwright. 6 touchdowns on the year. You see the big frame there, 6'4", 240. And speaking of basketball, you'd like him to try to leverage as best he can. Use that big frame to force that DB to come over the top of you.
On 2nd and 10. Underneath, that pass complete to Higgins. That's their playmaker. Stopped up at about the 4-yard line. That's when a spot where he stepped out of bounds. A 21-yard gain, 1st and goal.
Here's a little bit of the difference. Look at the protection. You see a 4-man rush that does not get home. Grayson has the opportunity to scan the field. As he said, come down to one of his more dynamic receivers in Higgins that does his job. And these are going to be critical points here for Colorado State. If they can close this gap, feel good about yourself going into halftime, yet there's still 97 seconds for the Cougs.
A little reverse. Bibbs hands it off. That's Hansley trying to get to the edge and can't. Dragged down. No horse call on that play. Looked like it might have been close. DeMonte Horton making the tackle on the play.
And that could have drawn the flag there.
2nd and goal coming up. Bibbs pounding forward, stopped up a few inches shy of the end zone. 3rd and goal coming up. You got to think that they're going for it here on 4th down, even if it comes to it, right?
Yeah, you would think so. And I'm a little surprised that Washington State's not used a timeout here to save these seconds as well.
They break the huddle quickly. They overload the left side. Bibbs, touchdown, no doubt, on that run. But an otherwise frustrating day for Capri Bibbs. But he finds the end zone that time and brings the Rams a little bit closer.
It's one of those creative formations, and good to see Brandon Hayes there, the left guard, 75, back in the game. But Dave Baldwin, longtime offensive coordinator in college football, been many places. Jim McElwain, they know they can't just simply get in the I formation and run it right at Washington State. They utilize the overload, the quick pitch to out-leverage the defense, and Bibbs gets home.
Extra point good, and the margin down to 15 now. Yeah, Brock, you talk about an overload. This is the mother of overloads.
I've sent a bunch of clips to our crew this week with some formations that I haven't seen in 6 years of doing this job. Now, that's not that unconventional, but you get your 2 big tight ends over there, a couple extra receivers, and that's what you want for Bibbs. Just try to give him a lane. Yeah, look at all of this. And then the real key is look at Washington State trying to figure it all out, and while they're still talking to each other, you get the quick pitch, and you get right out there on the edge.
I believe the term you used in our production meeting was varsity blues-like formations, wasn't it? Citing the old football movie? From the 12, it's Williams. And Williams down just outside the 20-yard line. Hey, 2nd and 10. And a sack back at the 10-yard line. They got to Connor Halliday. Barrett was one of the guys there, and he had a bunch of friends, including Eli Edwards. That pleases Coach Porter.
Family environment. That's exactly what Jim McElwain is trying to create there in Fort Collins. And an accountability and unselfishness. And to have someone of Barrett's talents with Porter right on side is, Bob Davies said, hard to play defense in this conference. You got to find difference makers in any way, shape, and form. And Barrett's exactly that for Jim McElwain.
3rd and long. Halliday incomplete. Boy, looked like West might have been expecting a hit. Stops the clock with 38 seconds to go. Colorado State going to get the ball back here.
You know, you burned your timeouts, but it gives you a chance.
Hensley's going to be standing at his own 45-yard line, right around midfield, actually, to get this punt.
And remember, Wes Concepcion, the punter, he punted for the first time in the Apple Cup. He's punting as well today, so not a wealth of experience at that position either.
See if they come after him a little bit. They did. And Concepcion, his punt is short. Hensley fields it on Washington State's side of midfield at about the 40-yard line with 30 seconds to go after the 30-yard punt. So now a little bit of time to work with for Coach McElwain in Colorado State.
And you've got an excellent kicker, an all-conference kicker in Andrew Fernie. It's 15 of 19. Oh, excuse me. It's actually Jared Roberts, 17 of 20 on the year, long of 54. You're thinking points here if you're Grayson. You're absolutely no sacks, no negative plays. You're thinking points going into halftime.
No timeouts remaining, though, for the Rams. Got to work quickly and efficiently. Grayson completes it. That's Alexander. You see the field goal range line there. He just got inside it, so they're inside the range of Jared Roberts, the all-conference kicker. He's 2 of 3 from 50 yards out on the season. Pardon me, career. 2nd and 1. 11 seconds to go. No timeouts remaining. Grayson with a ton of time, but he's got to watch the clock. 5 seconds to go. He gets down. That's not going to do it. No timeouts remaining. 4th down coming up. So in comes Roberts to kick the field goal.
Yeah, they must have burned a timeout, Mark. There's no other way to explain that. They must have had, unfortunately, a timeout left there, and fortunately for them to take.
Roberts from 30 yards out. And it's a 12-point game. That's the end of the first half. An interesting first half here in Albuquerque. 35-23. The Cougs with the lead. Right now we're going to send it to Chris Carter, Todd McShay, and Robert Smith in the studio for the halftime report. And welcome back to ESPN's college football presentation of the 2013 Gildan, New Mexico Bowl from Albuquerque. It's the 8th edition of this bowl game, and at halftime, Washington State out of the Pac-12 leading the Mountain West Conference, Colorado State Rams 35-23. I'm Mark Jones alongside Brock Ewart. From all of us at ESPN to all of you at home, season's greetings. We have Jessica Mendoza down on the sidelines. We'll hear from her in just a moment. Brock, at the top of the show, we talked about Mike Leach and his high-powered offense, high-powered passing attack. They've done just what we expected them to do in the first half. The challenge was for the Rams to slow them down a little bit. Your assessment so far?
Yeah, Coach Leach talked about just the progressive nature of this offense and how it's evolved this season, how the quarterback has gotten better and better each week. And he was red hot in that first half with 5 touchdown passes. And for Colorado State, frankly, to be within 12 points, multiple turnovers, block punt, critical penalties. I think if you're Jim McElwain, you're somewhat satisfied of still being within earshot, you know, with as many mistakes as they made offensively.
Thus we have 35-23, and Colorado State with a chance to get some more points on the board to start the second half. Garrett Grayson, their starting quarterback.
And Mark, that's why those points going into half were really so critical. You're still down 12. It doesn't minimize all the mistakes you made in the first half, but you just feel good going in, knowing, hey, you ran 55 plays, over 300 yards of offense for the Rams in the first 30 minutes of play. Plenty to feel good about. You also know you can't make some of those same mistakes here in the second half.
Bibbs, who's been struggling with turf toe in this game, made a nice cut despite of it and makes it out to the 27-yard line. Gain of 2 on the play. Brock, we saw the Rams in the second quarter in particular keep that Washington State offense where it needs to be for them to be successful. That's on the sidelines. How'd they do it for the most part?
That's the only way they're going to win this game. There's no way they're going to win this game in a shootout kind of fashion. They're going to win it by outpossessing Washington State here in the second half and really limiting the opportunities for an offense that's taken advantage of their defense.
Here's the screen, but not enough yards. Alexander on the catch and run, and they'll have to punt here on 4th down. So that chop block penalty really proved to be a factor on that opening drive of the third quarter.
And Richburg should know better, making his 50th start of his career, and he's trying to be physical, but once Nauta is engaged, you cannot go below the waist.
Hunt with the punt. And not a great effort by him. Stops at about the 42-yard line, and that's going to give Washington State good starting field position on their opening drive of the third quarter. Just a 22-yard punt. Halliday ready to go to work. 3rd and 9. Halliday over the middle, completes it this time for the first down to Craycraft. River Craycraft, the freshman, a true freshman, picking up 14.
Look at the anticipation on a 3rd down. Once again, now you've got 2 safeties. I know I don't got the deep shot. I'm going to throw it right underneath that safety to move the chains. Just a tremendous awareness and even better anticipation there to move the sticks.
Out of backfield complete to West. West with another nice move and a dynamic run by Theron West for the first down. Boy, he's made some nice plays today.
And this is a guy with just 1 rush, 1 yard all season long. But Mike Leach said there were a few Cougars in bowl prep that really stood out. Isaiah Myers was one. Theron West was another. He has the block punt. And just his little edge, his little speed has provided a spark here today for Washington State.
First down from the 18-yard line of Colorado State. Halliday on the fade, incomplete, intended for Myers. And Myers going man-to-man down there along the sidelines. Cougars 4 of 7 on 3rd down so far today. Into the end zone, incomplete. And Halliday a little displeased with the result there.
Yeah, that's Craycraft, unfortunately, on a corner route. Fades, corner, such a big part of this offense. Have everything you want, unlike maybe the deep go route that was just off, or the post route to Myers. That one's on the money. That one you throw to a spot, you're throwing right to the boundary, counting on Craycraft to get there. And unfortunately for Halliday, he doesn't get his 6th touchdown. He'll have to turn to Fernie for 3.
From 33 yards out now, Andrew Fernie. 15-19 on the season, and knocks this one through as well.
Yep. Well, remember McElwain yesterday telling us that the piece of advice that Nick Saban gave him was you've got to be who you are. And for Connor Halliday, as he's grown in his 18 starts, he's a guy that's going to be emotional. He's going to wear it on his sleeve. His team knows it. His coaches know it. And some of that swagger is what this offense plays to.
Right now doing a good job today with 15-point lead. Well, first down and 10 for the Rams, coming back the other way. Bibbs in the backfield. You'd imagine it'd be a little frustrating for Bibbs today. Nice run. Breaks one over the right side. Does he have enough to take off? Bibbs kicks it into another gear. He's got it. Touchdown, Rams. Turf toe. Okay.
Do you want to know why you continue to slam the ball in there and it's 2 yards and it's 5 yards and it's 2 yards? Because once you hit one little crease and you get an All-American into the open field, he shows you that his gear is better than the rest.
Their big-time playmaker. Now just an extra point from making it a 1-touchdown game, and that's what it is. Capri Bibbs, 75-yard burst. Doing it on a bad toe, turf toe. Well, he put toe to turf and was gone. Back after this. Well, a popular tourist destination here in Albuquerque, the Sandia Peak Tramway, the world's 3rd longest single-span tramway, stretching about 3 miles almost, 2.7 miles from edge of the city to the crest line of the mountains, and a glorious view. And look who's running into the training room. Not sure you want to see that after that great, marvelous run a moment ago by Bibbs. But he's moving okay.
He's got to readjust that steel toe.
That's a pretty good readjustment. But Bibbs and Dayon Buchanan, what a showdown it's been between those 2 impact guys today.
That was a 4th down. That was a 4th-and-1 play. And then unfortunately for Buchanan, the conference's leading tackler, the team's leading tackler the last 2 years, you don't see that very often, where he's going to duck his head there and Bibbs is going to make him and the Cougar defense pay.
4:13 to go. 3rd quarter. Halliday was looking downfield, comes underneath to Mason, his running back. And Mason stopped up. Brock, while Mason makes the catch in a receiving capacity, if you're a running back and your offense runs it only 25% of the time, why would you go to Washington State as a big-time recruit?
Well, I don't know if a Bibbs is going to go to a Washington State, a Capri Bibbs. But if you're Marcus Mason, if you're a scat back, if you're like so many that Mike had at Texas Tech, that's an in-between, it's really a 3rd down back, well, you have no other system, no better system to showcase your versatility than this one as a back.
Here he is again. Marcus Mason on the catch. That's the end of the 3rd quarter of play. Washington State leading 38-30. One of these teams hoping to roll on down to their next win this season. 15 minutes to go from Albuquerque. 15 minutes to go here at the 2013 edition of the Gildan New Mexico Bowl. Let's take a look at today's storyline, brought to you by Kay Jewelers. 35 first-half points. That's a bowl record. A couple of interceptions, blocked punt, and Halliday with 5 touchdown passes, a bowl record. They run the ball. Caldwell with one of the few carries for him today. DeAndre Caldwell, a former high school teammate of Gabe Marks in Los Angeles.
And this is all about the safeties, Mark. And take a look at these guys. And they've been trying to jack with Halliday and moving and showing different looks. But when those two safeties are 15 to 20 yards deep, it forces that call. I mean, you have to then run the ball to take advantage of the numbers advantage you have.
3rd and 3. And the Rams get another stop here. They've been doing it for the most part in the second half. Halliday, that back shoulder pass, complete. Caught by Gabe Marks. Boy, he put that right where it had to be.
Well, when you asked Mike Leach this year, when was it? When was the tipping point? You like to ask a lot of these coaches that question, rightfully so, Mark. And what did he say? There was no tipping point for Connor. It's just been a progression with these receivers. It's throwing it 700 times in a game, 7,000 times on a practice field. So when it's 3rd down, well, that's automatic between you and receiver, hitting the back shoulder and moving the sticks.
Halliday's completion percentage up big time this year, but sacked on that play at midfield. Terry Jackson breaking through for the sack. Can't say enough about this Colorado State defense in the second half, Brock.
No, this group up front here has provided the difference, and that's just Jackson one-on-one. That's no linebackers in the gap. There's nothing fancy about that. That's just beating, gets the right guard, more want-to, better technique, and creating a negative play. And these negative plays have been really what set Washington State's offense back here in the second half.
2nd and 17. Over the middle. It's River Craycraft with another catch. You see they're on the edge of field goal range, about 5 yards away right now, gain of 10. 3rd down coming up.
And those 3 points would be critical. And remember, Andrew Fernie, the senior for Wazzu, he put a 60-yarder through the uprights a season ago against Eastern Washington's got 4 50-yard field goals on his resume.
We are at a little bit of altitude, almost a mile high at 5,000 feet. Halliday with bowl records in both completions and attempts. Under heat, got it away in time, but short of the 1st down. That pass complete to Williams.
Now take a look at the flags, and you're going into this end zone. And that has been relentless, that win today. And that's why I think you're going to see Washington State not even attempt a field goal while you may be in range, especially going the other way if you were downwind.
Big play coming up. 4th and 3. Got rid of it quickly, found his receiver for the 1st down and then some. Williams again. A 15-yard gain for the 1st down.
And here's your game of adjustments. Here's Colorado State doing what? Walking right up into those gaps. What's your answer then? Well, instead of holding on to the ball, get it right out of your hands. Colorado State giving up way too much cushion there. But Mike Leach and his staff making some corrections. If they're going to get up in the gap, then we're going to hit them quick, and we're going to make them pay.
Halliday comes back the other way. It was running back Caldwell. 2nd touch of the game, that time a reception. 2nd down coming up. Caldwell losing 2 on the play.
And Mark, now you are in field goal range, and now you have to think about, if you play in this position, do not force the issue. Do not take some of those sacks, some of the negative plays. Do all you can to maintain this field position, because now you are certainly within striking distance of your kicker, Fernie.
Although nothing about Mike Leach says conservative. Halliday, wide open, touchdown! Isaiah Myers. The 6th touchdown pass of the day for Connor Halliday, and that's a career high. And that puts the margin back to 2 touchdowns. Buys them a little bit more cushion. Laid back up to 15 points. Isaiah Myers, who's had a hot hand lately for the Cougars. Halliday with a bowl record 390 passing yards. Brock Ewart, let's go back and look at that one touchdown. What was the key a moment ago?
Well, Mike Leach's whole system is predicated on creating space for his wide receivers. And look what you do 6 yards down the field. You create a stack alignment, and you start to put those secondary guys in a bind. And Kevin Pierre-Louis, he's trying to get back there. He's trying to fight all the way back across the field. He can't get it done. Again, it's the little details. Many times you'll see receivers getting a stack alignment before the snap mark. Well, based on that release, they get into that alignment 6 yards down the field, and it's the little nuances that have led the Pirate to so much success, so much productivity in the passing game over the years.
2 yards deep in a fumble by Kaufman, out of bounds. An egregious error by the Rams. Colorado State needs a quick score here. Grayson, a little bit high, evading the intended receiver. Stops the clock with 4:13 to go.
I like that graphic, by the way. 6 touchdowns to 6 different receivers. When you talk about balance, it was Coach Meacham down there at Houston this season, a disciple of Mike Leach, who said in our system, in this system, Mike Leach's way, balance is how many different guys can touch the football across the field. You know, by that measurement, tremendous balance for the Cougs today.
Pass complete to Joe Hansley, and conversely, on the other side of the field, Coach McElwain building his deal at Colorado State, and it was interesting to listen to his blueprint. Talked about identifying the criteria, define the criteria, and recognize fatal flaws when it comes to recruiting. And they've got some players. And Bibbs, one of them. That was Alexander, though, on the run. What do you make of that whole overall philosophy that he speaks of? And it's got Alabama roots to it, obviously.
It
right?
does, but it's very similar for both of these programs in a little different ways. You better identify what kind of athlete you need to fit your scheme. Mike Leach does that. He's got 18 kids right now verbally committed. And for Colorado State, well, you are really having to recruit. You don't get to select as they did at Alabama.
Pass complete to Hansley.
And you have got to recruit, and you have got to clearly define the kind of players you want. And I love what he said. You also got to understand if they've got fatal flaws, no matter what their record is in track record and productivity at the high school level.
Even if they're a 5-star
That's
guy?
right.
Yeah.
Well, most of the 5-star guys don't have too many fatal flaws.
That's a good point. That pass complete to Lovett. And Lovett with another Ram first down.
And this, as you said, you better score fast. And you're not even having to really burn any timeouts here. Getting that clock to stop each and every time with a couple chunk passing plays.
It's a 2-score game, and the Cougars are going to burn one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
With 3:25 to go. Coach McElwain talking about how he's getting it done at Colorado State. We saw his blueprint, and it was interesting how he said when they were at Alabama, when he was on Nick Saban's staff, part of 2 national championship teams in 2009, 2011, that they would recruit a guy who wasn't previously recruited, and he would jump from a 2-star to a 4 or 5-star as a result of that.
Yeah, I think that's the reputation of Alabama, that I think they maybe have a better track record than some of the recruiting services. And if they think the guy can play, all of a sudden he will shoot from a 1-star to a 4-star. But it's going to be a little different road here for Jim McElwain. He knows it, but he feels like because of the stability above him, Jack Graham, former quarterback for Colorado State, now the athletic director, the president, the folks in Fort Collins that really want to have success, get back to the days of Sonny Lubick where they won a bunch of games, and they're going to give him some of the ammunition from facilities and budgets and recruiting to do so.
They've got some ambitious things in the works there. Grayson completes it to Vady. Vady got a nice block from one of his receivers out there from Hansley, and got a few extra yards as a result. Picked up 8 on the play. Second down, about 2 to go. 2 timeouts remaining for the Rams. Grayson pulls the trigger complete to his tight end Gilmore. See where they mark his forward progress, right around the 12. More than enough for the first down. They get a quick score here, and anything goes.
And look at this. You have not had to burn your timeouts. Look at how quickly they get to the line. You see so many teams waste these precious seconds when the clock is wound. They're wasting none.
Underneath, had it batted down at the line of scrimmage by Nota.
Donnell Alexander
Stops the clock with under 3 minutes to go.
Good play there by now. So if you're getting blocked, you know, find a way to get into those passing lanes. But this is textbook without burning a timeout and knowing that Mike Leach on the other side, well, he's going to continue to be aggressive. Plenty of time.
Grayson wide open. Touchdown, Colorado State. Vaden with the catch. And they are right back in this game with a little bit of time, just enough time to make something happen. McElwain signals 1. They're not going to go for 2 here.
You don't go for 2 until you have to go for 2. So this is absolutely the right call. And teammates letting them down in special teams and fumbles. Look at what Grayson put together on that drive. He's got his Rams within 1 possession.
3rd touchdown catch this season for Vaden. Now, if you're Colorado State, as we take one more look at this touchdown catch. Good hands and lunge. If you're Colorado State, are you even thinking about an onside kick here with a little under 3 minutes? You kick it down and let your defense do the work?
Yeah, I don't think you do at all. You know, the wind has definitely been more at your back here in this quarter. I think you try to do the best you can to kick this ball out of the end zone. You've got 2 timeouts. You've got a guy on the other side of Mike Leach that is going to be unorthodox at handling any situation, end of half, end of game. So no, I don't think you burden your team at offense if you get the ball back by an onside kick here at all.
DCE for Washington. Number 23, Leon Brooks. And number 34, DeAndre Caldwell.
Got some hands teams guys up front for Washington State. And Colorado State kicks it away. This is Caldwell on the return. And he goes down inside the 20. 1st and 10 with 2:49 to go. The Cougars with 1 timeout remaining. Colorado State with a couple. And you think about the guys up front, they've done a nice job. Shaquille Barrett, the Mountain West Defensive Conference Player of the Year. One last gasp effort here. Halliday completes it. Lead of about 2 on the play. That was Christoph Williams on the reception, working against Pierre Lewis. And the good thing about a Washington State offense, Brock, and I'm thinking out loud here, is it's tough when you think about being a defender for Colorado State. There is no quote-unquote go-to guy here because they're so balanced.
That's exactly right. And there's no tendency, and they will do and make any call at any point. That's some of the fearlessness, swing the sword of a Mike Leach coached offense.
Here we go, 2nd and 8. Halliday flushed out and caught by Craycraft. Gain of about 2, so it sets up 3rd and maybe 6 coming up. 2:36 to go.
Timeout, Colorado State. 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Craycraft, meanwhile, 9 catches
This is a 30-second
for
timeout.
126 yards and a touchdown. Boy, look at those wide splits again. 3rd and 6. Little heat coming from the Rams. Pass is caught, and a 1st down at the 31 to Galvin. A huge play and a big win on 3rd down, a gain of 9. And that keeps the offense for Colorado State and Garrett Grayson off the field.
And Colorado State trying to come with some pressure there, and you see Halliday just by a little bit of time, and he retreats and he retreats, and he knows he's got his one-on-one to Galvin all the way. And just like the other 23 first downs, well, once again by air.
Colorado State out of timeouts. State recovers it. Halliday got ripped, and he coughed it up. Wow. Shaquille Barrett ripped him clean. And Coach McElwain's team is alive with 2:01 to play. A cataclysmic turn of events. But was he down? Let's take one more look.
Yes,
he might have been down.
Clearly down.
They're going to look at this.
I was just going to say, as unorthodox as Mike Leach is, this has to be 3 consecutive runs. And of course, he decides to run zone read, or Halliday makes the choice to pull it. That's got to be looked at. That left knee clearly, on first view there, looks down for Halliday to do it.
After further review, the runner was down prior to losing the ball. Therefore, it was second 10 at the 31-yard line. The clock will start and ready for play.
Steve, how did they reconcile the clock and the spotting of the ball and those things?
So once we get it set here, what you're going to see, the play clock will go to 25 seconds, but we'll wind the play clock. So if Washington State wants to, they can run another 25 seconds off of this clock before they snap the ball.
Yeah, you have to do it. And if they snap this with any time, that is unbelievable.
But they would snap it that quickly, and they get stoned. And from another fumble, back-to-back fumbles, and this one recovered by Colorado State. Wow. No doubt about that one. Shaquille Barrett said, this time you're not going to get me. Incredible that they would put it on the ground in consecutive plays.
Well, first of all, incredible that you snapped the ball with 20 seconds left on the play clock. Secondly, that's La Ufasa, the short yardage back. And give all the credit in the world once again to Barrett. I mean, that is all Shaquille Barrett. And the technique in the Wazzu to rip, and well, he nearly got it the first time. He gets La Ufasa the second time.
And look where they've got the ball.
Incredible.
Right exactly at the same spot they would have before, at the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Rams. No timeouts remaining. Grayson fires. And it's caught by Vaden. He had the touchdown catch to bring them to within 8. A gain of 7 on the play, 2nd and 3.
End of game mechanics, so critical and can be so costly, especially in these bowl games.
Grayson, Vaden was running before he made the catch that time, and it's incomplete. Stops the clock with 1:27 to go.
And there you see a little of the counter body language. He's giving the thumbs up to Vaden. He's got some guys around him right now that are thrust into some roles they haven't been this season, and a very calming influence from the junior Grayson.
They run it. Bibbs right up the middle. Down to the 17-yard line. Capri Bibbs with a big day. He's gone for over 150 yards on the day. Got 9 that time. 1:19 to go. Grayson fires incomplete at the 10. He tried to hit his tight end, Gilmore. Stops the clock with 1:16 to go. 2nd and 10 coming up.
76 seconds to go here. You obviously need to score in the 2-point conversion. My mindset, get it to my best players.
But Bibbs is coming off the field right now. Alexander comes in for him.
And that is a pass protection. He is not nearly the pass protector that Alexander is. You've got to find now a way to get it to Cartwright, to Gilmore, your go-to guys in the red zone.
Vaden split to the bottom of your screen. He's been the go-to guy in the second half. They go his way. He's got some real estate ahead of him. And Vaden steps out of bounds at about the 11-yard line with 1:09 to go. About 3 yards short of the first down. Getting close to 8 there.
And what a play once again from Barrett on back-to-back plays on 1st and 2nd down to rip the football first away from Halliday. Secondly, from La Ufasa, putting his offense in a position to take advantage.
Bibbs is back in the game now in the backfield. Vaden split to the bottom of your screen into the boundary.
Favorable run numbers. Could be a run.
It is with Bibbs. Made a nice move, makes it down to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal on the 8-yard run by Capri Bibbs. And that's the guy that set it all up. First and goal. Bibbs stopped short. And about the 1 yard line.
Plenty of time. Wazzu going to do their best to lay on Bibbs.
They sure are there. All of a sudden they can't get off the ground.
No need to panic. Plenty of time.
They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. 40 seconds to go. No timeouts remaining for Colorado State. Bibbs again. Fumbled it, but he was in. Touchdown. Two points away from tying it. That's his third rushing touchdown today. And Shaquille Barrett set it all up with that rip. Was he in before he fumbled?
Well, it doesn't matter because right there in the continuous action, he recovers it.
Hensley and Vaden split to the bottom of your screen. They hand it off. Alexander, did he get there? No signal. He didn't make it. He extended that arm, tried to hit the pylon, and came up short. It looked like the old Boise State play.
It's exactly what it was. It was the Bronco Statue of Liberty, something we saw at the walkthrough yesterday.
One more look.
Sure did. Ooh, and I think you get away with maybe a little bit of hold on the edge.
Ooh,
and Steve, your job's not done yet.
Great look here. Oh, geez. Boy, that was inches away. Close. The ruling on the field is that he did not make it.
The ruling on the field is that the try was short of the goal line. The previous play is under further review.
That's going to be good. I mean, you hit the pylon. You see this all the time. There's no body part that is out of bounds. He extends. He hits that pylon, the plane. Mark, that's going to be good for 2 points. And what a call there. For all the credit for Mike Leach of being a little unorthodox, you take Bibbs off the field. I can't imagine that not being counted as good.
That is an incredible.
He's in control when he has the ball, when it hits the pylon.
What an effort by Alexander.
What a call. A Statue of Liberty on the 2-point conversion.
A Boise State, Oklahoma flashback on that play. Here's the ruling.
After further review, the runner did penetrate the goal line with the ball, therefore the try is good.
And we're tied at 45. Wow. It was all set up by that fumble. And the rip, more by Shaquille Barrett. He made the play of the game right here for Colorado State, ripping the ball loose. And then the touchdown run by Bibbs. And then the 2-point run. And the dive into the end zone by Alexander. Taking flight and hitting that pylon at the last moment.
Is there a better way to kick off bowl season?
I would say no.
We're 4 hours in. We may be here another hour.
45 all. And if you're Washington State right now, you've got to be disheartened in the sense, Brock, that you had this game. This was won.
No, you can't think that way whatsoever. If you're Connor Halliday in this offense, you're thinking, well, right now there's 33 seconds. You're also thinking, just get this return to the 30-yard line. As prolific as you are in your passing game, as much as you challenge this Colorado State defense in the air all afternoon, it starts at the return here. But if you're Connor Halliday, 33 seconds, well, just like you saw your counterpart on the other side do, if you get those first downs and move the chains, clock stops in 33 seconds with your kicker, gives you an opportunity to still get into field goal range.
Yeah, Andrew Fernie has a career long of 60 yards. On the return, this is Caldwell. And he had it come loose. Another fumble! Washington State literally fumbling this game away. The Rams recover it inside the 20. A colossal meltdown in the dying moments of the game by the Cougars. Caldwell had it punched loose, no doubt about that one. Another fumble.
And that's Stephen Michael, the backup linebacker. And the words of Jim McElwain are resonating in my head right now. What he said to us yesterday. Our team has learned in these moments, Mark, for times like this.
He talked about how his team has defined the margin that exists between being able to get over the hump, between being able to close games out. And that's where they are right now.
It's the line that you wrote down, that I wrote down, that everybody in the meeting wrote down yesterday. The team's like Freddy Krueger. That's who this Colorado State team is. And all of us looked at him kind of dumbfounded. Well, what do you mean by that? It means you can't kill him. Can't kill him. It's a 15-point game with 4 minutes to go, right? Leading receiver for Colorado State, he's out. Your set tailback's gimpy. You're up 15 if you're Washington State. And as Jim McElwain said, well, like Freddy Krueger, you cannot kill us. They drive it down, they're efficient, they operate, they get the fumble. And now because of the fumble on the kickoff return, well, you're in field goal range taking this one from Washington State.
In all likelihood, this one comes down to the toe of their place kicker, Roberts. 27 seconds to go. And they play it conservatively. Bibbs protecting that football with two hands. Stopped up right near the line of scrimmage.
Well, now you better hurry, get everybody set. You can't afford any penalty here, any false start or anything. Get everybody set, and you've got to spike the ball and give yourself a chance for that game-winning field goal.
7 seconds to go. And they spike it and stop the clock with 4 seconds to go. And in comes Jared Roberts to cap what would be a miraculous turnaround and a signature win for Colorado State in this, the second year of Jim McElwain's tenure. He's 20 of 23 on the season, Jared Roberts. An unlikely, implausible, like almost impossible ending. Trying to put a period on it here. Roberts from 41. Got it! It's over! And the Rams run roughshod in the dying moments to steal it. You may never see another set of circumstances come together in a perfect storm and turn around the way you saw tonight.
Meltdown on one side, mayhem on the other for a program, Mike or Mark, that may have just found itself.
Wow. And their effort defined in large part by Shaquille Barrett. When you think about him ripping the ball loose not once but twice, and capped by this 41-yard field goal by Roberts, his career high 4th, and good enough for the victory. Well, today's Capital One player of the game is Capri Bibbs. 168 rush yards, 3 touchdowns on 27 carries, playing with a badly injured toe, had turf toe, had that reinforced steel plate on the bottom of his shoes to help him run. And they get their 8th win of the season in what will be one of the most memorable wins maybe in all of their bowl history.
Welcome to college football bowl season.
34 more bowl games to go, folks. There's our final score. Coming up next, the Idaho Potato Bowl between Buffalo and San Diego State, which is currently on ESPN 3.